Good evening and welcome to Man Tucson Radio. This is Wayne Daly, your host, here on April 6th, 2013. It's a little after 6 o'clock. I'm a little late. And as the saying goes, early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable. So I'm going to apologize to you for my tardiness. I know that I've got some listeners out there. I've got some people that actually listened to the show last week live. I had 8 clicks to listen to the live show, so I'm not sure how to feel about that. I'm going to say good evening to all of my friends who have clicked on the link to listen live. It's kind of interesting. I can actually check out the stats of the show on Spreaker.com, the internet radio station. I don't know if it's a radio station. It's an internet radio service, podcast service, broadcast service, whatever you want to call it. And I can go in and I can check stats and see how many people have listened. And I'm using the free radio service, so I can't really see when and who and what demographic and from what area of the country. But I can see that I get some listeners. And I've only had 4 shows. Busy week, and am I man enough? And the welcome actually had plus 32 listens by 22 unique listeners. In fact, all of the 4 episodes that I have posted so far all have 22 unique listeners. So there's a little bit of an audience. You know, I guess there's some consistency there. I guess either that or people are just tuning in, waiting for me to step on my own tongue, put my foot in my mouth, and I promise you it's going to happen. If it hasn't happened yet, if it has happened yet, I don't know, because nobody's left me any feedback. It very well could have happened last week, because I was really unprepared for the show. Unprepared with topics to talk about. I just kind of showed up, plugged in, and just kind of went for it. A friend of mine, who I'm in a home group with on Wednesday nights, actually told me he listened to the show. And he kind of laughed, which was a really, really comforting thing. Thank you, Kenneth, for the laughter. I hope it was a part where I was trying to be funny and not just an overall rating for my ability to communicate to the listening audience. Anyway, that opening tune, once again, I want to send a thank you out to Jacob Coffin. He's at San Diego Christian College. Thank you, Jacob. He put together, just a little 60-second opening music. I didn't want to use anything that was out there. I'm not sure of copyright laws or if I can get in trouble. So I asked for something original. I gave him a couple of ideas what I wanted, a couple of songs that I like, and he came up with that. That's first shot. That's right out of the gate, and that is exactly what we were looking for. My wife loves the little ditty. A friend of mine who listened to the show at the house here last week was kind of wandering around the house singing it. So I guess it's kind of catchy, and I just want to say thank you to Jacob. Jacob Coffin, again, thank you. Again, Wayne Daly, this is the Man Tucson Radio Show. I've got a few things to talk about. What I've been doing is I have a little, like a Post-it note, a little tablet of paper, and as I'm going through my week, so I can sound interesting on Saturday nights and make it seem like I'm deep and thoughtful, I scribble little ideas, things that kind of wash up against me, things that kind of rub me the wrong way, or things I see on Facebook that I think it's just kind of funny that they're getting that much attention. The one thing was on Easter. The Google search page decided to host or show Cesar Chavez's picture instead of the Easter Bunny or Jesus. And where that's, as a Christian, I have to say it's a little offensive to not see Christ displayed on Easter. However, they didn't show the fake bunny, so that's good. And Cesar Chavez was an actual person, so happy birthday to him, or belated birthday now that I'm 6 days late, which is status quo for me. That's about how I do it. I don't wrap presents, and I always call late, if I call at all. Maybe you get an email. If your birthday is this month and you run across me, don't be offended if I don't say happy birthday. It was never really a big deal in my house when I was a kid. When I was a young kid, when I was, before I was 8 years old, it was a little bit of a big deal. So was Christmas. We used to have a tree and presents, and we'd celebrate birthdays. But after 8 years old, no Christmas, no tree. My mom She spent a lot of time inviting the neighborhood Jehovah's Witnesses into the house, and she explored that avenue of faith. And she has since passed away. She passed away in 2001, and I did have an opportunity to sit with her and to speak with her with my Bible open, have her acknowledge that Jesus is God, Son of God, and is the only way. He is the truth, the way, the truth, and the life, and the only way to get into heaven. So that path was corrected, I feel. And I'm not sure how I got down this tangent. I told you I was prepared tonight. That is nowhere in my notes. And yes, I keep notes in front of me so I can stay focused. I guess it would be helpful if I paid attention to the notes that I have in front of me so I can stay focused. Anyway, my point on that is that kind of rubbed off. Birthdays, where they are a big deal, and I want to acknowledge and honor my friends and family who have birthdays, you have to know it's a real struggle for me. It wasn't something that was drilled in to me as a child. So there you have it. Don't be offended. Just kind of, I'm a chucklehead, so just go ahead and shake it off and just move forward. So the whole Cesar Chavez thing on Google, and I understand where people get into an uproar. I think that we just, Christians need to grow some thicker skin around stuff like that. And we've got a world that's really seriously in a lot more trouble than showing some guy's face on Google on his birthday. We just need to roll up our sleeves and get to work. And that's all I've got to say about that. One of the other things that came up, I had this on my Facebook page. I posted this math thing. That was, I thought it was kind of funny, and I thought I was being real clever. And I always love it when I think I'm being real clever, and then it turns out that I'm not being real clever. It was 1 plus 5 equals 12, and 2 plus 10 equals 24, and then 3 plus 15 equals 36. And then it went down to 5 plus 25 equals question mark. Well, there's let me draw a picture for you, since if you're listening to me, and according to the stats, 22 unique listeners will be listening to me at least this week, unless I've dropped in popularity, which is absolutely possible. The picture, basically it had the first three with answers, and then the word then, and then the fourth equation, 5 plus 25 equals, and then a question mark. Now, as I was looking at that, and I was standing on my my soapbox thinking, look how clever I am. I'm going to get everybody with this one, because they're all going to probably post the wrong answer, and I'm going to have that aha, I got you moment, because I love the aha, I got you moments, because it makes me feel really smart. People have continued to post on this thing. I had my friend Kenneth posted something on it. My friend David posted something on it. Very, very smart men. A friend of mine, Josh, a friend of mine, Juan, who is a university professor, a friend of mine. Lots of friends posted on it, and I had to think. I take everything as black and white. 5 plus 25. 5 plus 25 to me, very simply, is 30. However, the picture was a little misleading. The picture did say 1 plus 5 equals 12, 2 plus 10 equals 24, 3 plus 15 equals 36. And then the small word underneath there said then, and then it offered the 5 plus 25 equals question mark. Okay, so with that does kind of indicate you need to follow a pattern. And the pattern replicates itself in the first three. Therefore, if the word then is there, or even if the word if was in there, you would then assume that you need to use the same hidden function, because the hidden function is 2 and then x plus y in parentheses. I guess it's an algebraic function. Los Angeles Public School, didn't graduate, got his GED 12 years later, never used algebra a day in my life. So way to go, Juan. Thanks for the lesson. Anyway, my answer for that was that all mathematics are right because numbers do not lie. It's the answers that are wrong. In order to make the answers right, we are assuming facts not admitted into evidence. Just because the 3 preceding answers are using the same invisible formula to validate the answer does not change the truth of the numbers or the mathematical equation as it's written. I have at that point, it was a question: is it a desire to comply with the status quo that drives us to explain why 30 is not the answer? And I finally got an answer this morning. I sat around the table with 5 other guys doing some preaching and teaching training with the team from Crossroads Church, as I've stepped up to stand at the front and teach the Word of God before the congregation by a moving of the Spirit. Thank you, God, for the courage. They explained to me the word "then" is what's misleading. The word "then" indicates that those first 3 answers are right, or it's based on the same theory. If the word "then" wasn't there, my answer would be right. At least that's what we all shared. Had a good laugh about it. I had to share with them the first time I saw it. My answer was 100, and there's no way you should ever get 100 from 5 plus 25, regardless of what the hidden function is, unless the first 3 answers were 25, 50, and 75 or something like that. Anyway, so back to why I was bringing up the show stats. Man, I'm really struggling to stay on track tonight. So I appreciate you hanging in there. Show stats, busy week, am I man enough, and the welcome message. Those all, had, over 32 listens, each one of them. In fact, I'm going to pull up right now. I'm going to pull up the stats so I can actually take a look at this, since I'm struggling with being correct. So right now, total plays for a very busy week, 37. How should I live with my wife? Total plays, how am I man enough to do this? Total plays 33. Welcome to the Man Tucson Radio Program 37. Unique listeners. Welcome to the Man Tucson Radio Program 31. So the number actually went up. Thank you. Am I man enough to do this? Is 22. Now, how should I live with my wife? Got a total plays of 25 with unique listeners of 22. So 22 is, I guess it could be a different number of unique listeners from week to week, but I think it's funny that am I man enough to do this? 33 with 22 unique listeners, and then how should I live with my wife? 25 with unique listeners of 22. Now, a very busy week, total plays 37, unique listeners 27, so it went up. I've increased in number of unique listeners. However, it just kind of made me scratch my head. Nobody wants to know or listen to me talk about how I should live with my wife, or is there a stigma that men think I'm going to say something that may convict them about how they're living with their wives? Now, I'll let you know, 2 weeks ago, that was the intention, was to hopefully say something that would convict men to at least look at how they're living with their wives. Anyway, I thought that was kind of funny, and I wanted to say thank you to all of the unique listeners who are listening to the show. In fact, I'm looking there now in today's episode, and that's why I decided that I'm gonna title my shows The Date. Today is April 6, 2013, so that's the title of this episode. I'll change it after I go back and listen to it, because I am kind of all over the road, kind of like a Cadillac on an icy highway, having a little trouble keeping the wheels in front of me. And you all are great troopers for hanging in there. We're almost there. We're about halfway done, as a matter of fact. So that's how the show stats work. Pretty soon, I'll be upgrading. I'll be upgrading to a broadcaster package where I'll get a little more analytics, and I'll be able to see things a little more clearly, who and where and when and all that. It's important. You should be able to track your progress. The only way I'm going to improve is by listener feedback, you guys telling me what you like and what you don't like, and through the analytics. Now, since I'm not getting much listener feedback, actually, Christina Daly did ask me what was my favorite color, and then my buddy Nick Stotzer, Pastor Nick Stotzer, out in Kansas City, Missouri, he left me a nice, very encouraging message. So I appreciate both of you. I just wanted to say, give you a shout out, as it were. Yeah, I'm 47 years old and white, and I shouldn't be saying shout out, but I like it. It's kind of funny, so I'm going to do it. And you should probably just deal with this. So this is the last week. We're doing a big push for the Rough Cut men's movie experience. That is going to be on April 13th. We're doing that at the gymnasium at Christ Community Church. And right now, registration is still open. But the registration in Arizona, everybody I've talked to, at least in Tucson or Phoenix, as far as ministry leaders, everybody's encouraging me that the numbers will be higher than what the registrations are reflecting. I want to see men reached with this event to develop relationships, to grow closer, to cross denominational lines, to support their churches, to support their pastors into knowing that somebody has their back, that we're not just there polishing seats, that we're there to lift up the church, that we're there to advance the purpose, the mission, the vision of your pastors and churches, that we're locking shields, that we're locking arms. We are God's army. We are the Tucson region, or the brigade, or whatever name you want to call it. That's who we are as men of God. We need to be locking shields, and this is not a competition. We all serve the same Lord and Savior. There's no reason why we shouldn't be involved in each other's lives. So that's what the Rough Cut Men event is for, so that we can be involved in each other's lives and have a little fun. This thing is going to be outrageous fun. And I love having fun and laughing and engaging with other guys and being having a little thoughtfulness go in with that. So we need to build relationships. The men, I need to build relationships with the men I am seeking to serve in my church and community. So for that, I need to live a life that's intentional. And the reason that is because I serve a very intentional God. He is the one true God, the living God, who is a very purposeful being. He's very intentional. He always acts intentionally. Nothing in his being or purpose is random. You and I are created in his image, so why wouldn't we live intentionally? Should we live intentionally? Yes. Yes, we should. Since we are created in his image and in his likeness, we are created to live intentionally, which is it serves to reason that that's what we should do. It's God's design for us to live a life of intention. In fact, we always act intentionally, whatever we're doing, whether we do or not. Whether it's based on your conscious decisions or subconscious decisions or whatever, the big question I have is: Are you reacting to life as it comes at you, or living intentionally and adjusting your plans when God indicates you're off track? I mean, that's what I've been praying for. I have idols of comfort and control. I have a huge idol of money, and that ties right into the comfort. I don't like to be broke. I don't, for as long as I can remember. However, I've been called to pursue a life of ministry, and I get a little freaked out sometimes because I'm not really sure what that looks like. So I need to spend a lot of time with God. Now I could have, I spent a fair amount of time, struggling through the over-analysis paralysis, and living a life of passivity. God was calling me to pursue him and pursue serving him in ministry, serving at my church, the men's ministry at my church, serving my church with assisting with the preaching and teaching, submitting to spiritual authority for training to understand what it looks like to handle the word God in front of people. I don't have a college degree, and I'm not about to go out and spend tens of thousands of dollars to get a piece of paper that says I know what I'm talking about, when the book on how to serve God was written well before any of these schools started collecting money. Now, I'm not knocking anybody that's got a degree. If that's how you were led, then God bless you, and I pray that it pays off for you. However, I don't have that kind of money, and I don't have a spirit that says I need to go into debt to get to where God has me going. So, I'm studying here at home. I have mentors who are mentoring me. I've got leaders from Florida to Phoenix to California to Connecticut that have invested time into me, who continue to invest time into me. I have online curriculum that I'm going to be following to learn about words that I can barely pronounce and understand what they mean. I almost said hermeneutics, and that it reminds me of something my wife reminded me of. She said that really sounds like Dianetics. So it's hermeneutics, I believe, and we talked about that this morning around the church. So I am going to be spending a lot of time in prayer. Now, where that leads me to in ministry, is I'm trying to build the men's ministry at my church and offer my services to the smaller churches that don't have a budget line for men's ministry in the city of Tucson. To go out and bring equipment, to bring a TV and a sound system, to offer to go through study courses like Stepping Up with Dennis Rainey or the 33 series or any of the other video series, 6 to 10 week video series, so that we can work together to kind of gel their men's ministry, get their men's ministry off the ground, and to help sift out who their men's leader is or who has a calling for that men's leader. And that men's leader can come up alongside that pastor or come up along behind that pastor, and they can stand back to back at the church, along with the other staff members, and have a full 360-degree view on how to protect that church, to raise that church up. Protect the church from the wolves, very important. Raise that church up, get out to the community, get the message of Christ out to an unbelieving world. That's our job. So this weekend, we were going to, at my church, have a barbecue for the men of the church at the church after Sunday service tomorrow. And we only had a couple of people respond. And here's where I was convicted. At first, I wanted to be outraged. Nobody's coming to the barbecue. Oh, my goodness. Oh, where's their commitment? And kind of rail against that. And that's not for me to judge. That's me then judging my brothers, the very men that I'm called to serve. In love, I'm judging. So God put a stop to that. He let me sit in it just long enough so that it would sink in that I was being wrong when he convicted me, when he sent the Spirit to give conviction. And I did repent, and I asked forgiveness. I spoke with my pastor this morning. We have canceled the barbecue. I'd like to say postponed, because we'll probably have it in a couple weeks. But that's because I need to be intentional to go out and make an investment in having a relationship with the people I'm trying to serve. I need to take the initiative. God takes the initiative to come to us. He pursues us. That's the model that if you're in leadership, of any type of ministry leadership, that you should be modeling. Now, it's not to say that if you're a pastor, I know pastors here at several churches, they have churches that range from anywhere from 150, 200 people, and they really can't invest in pursuing everybody. That's why they have staff. That's why they follow a small group plan or a missional community plan. So they have leaders in place who are pursuing to serve the church mission, pursuing to support the pastor in his vision and mission, and they invest in the relationships. That's my job. I get to invest in the relationships with the men in my church. So I will be reaching out to these men. I will be making an announcement tomorrow at church about the barbecue and about Rough Cut Men. I will be asking for the men to provide me with their contact information, their name, their phone number, and their email address. So that when I get this information, I can start taking the time to invest in relationships with these men. Now, some men won't want to have relationships with me. They might just think I'm a really strange guy, and they'll want to know, why does this guy want to get close to me? What's his angle? What does he want? All I want to do is serve you. If you're listening to this, if you're one of the 22 unique listeners, 27 as of last week, all I want to do is serve you. I don't want to change you. That's not my job. I don't want to tell you you're living life wrong. That's not my job. All I want to do is find out how you tick, find out what's broken, how I can be praying for you, what you need from me to do to support you in your life. That's what I want. Now, once I've started to develop relationships, even once I've got contact information, I can start sending out personalized invitations to events, not a Facebook blast to 45 people that says we're getting together on this day, and they have a little click, yes, no, or maybe. By the way, no, yes or no. Yes, I love, yes, of course, because that feeds my idol of being needed. A little truth in that. No doesn't quite bother me. No is really okay because I know that there's something else that these men need to be doing. I have to trust these men that they're living a life of intentionality to go out and live the life that God has called them to. So a no is good. I always love seeing a no. The one thing that drives me crazy is seeing maybe. Maybe drives me up a wall. And what's worse than maybe, is no response. And that's on me because I have an emotional connection. I have a set expectation that if I send out 45 invitations to something, I should get 45 responses, either a yes or a no. Now part of that, not part of that. Where was I going with this? Oh, I know where I was going with this. Yes or no is really much better than maybe, because it shows me that you're living intentionally. It's okay to live intentionally and say no. It's not okay to say maybe. That just seems passive to me. It seems like somebody didn't want to step on my toes or hurt my feelings. So if I ask you to something, just know that your yes or your no is going to be honored. And if you don't know, say I don't know. Say I have to say no because I don't know if I have something that day. Say yes because I don't know if I have something that day. We as men, we make commitments to each other. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. It doesn't say let your yes be yes, no be no, and give a maybe when you're not really comfortable giving an answer. So just step up and give an answer, yes or no. Now, if a yes gets broken into a no, there's grace. That's the model that we live. That's the model that's demonstrated for us as Christ came back to reconcile us to the Father. There was grace. So I have to extend grace and forgiveness if somebody just flat out lies, which... I never buy into that. Nobody flat out lies to me. Nobody does. And that's just the way I believe it. Now, if they do, that's on them, not me. Everybody gets judged at the end. So I don't have any time to worry about that. I've got bigger fish to fry. And no, the barbecue is not a fish fry. Please don't hear it. That is what we're doing. Anyway, so the personal relationships I'm going to be building, you can count on it that I'm coming at you to build personal relationships. And the reason I'm coming at you to build personal relationships is so I can extend personal RSVPs to any events that we have. Now, an RSVP, it's a French phrase. Répondez s'il vous plaît. It means please reply. The person sending the invitation, and that's going to be me, would like you to tell him whether you accept or decline the invitation. That is, will you be coming to the event or not? So let's live intentionally, men. If this is one of the Crossroads men listening to this, please know that I support you and encourage you to live a life of intentionality. I support you and encourage you to look at me and tell me I'm crazy and no. Well, you can look at me and tell me I'm crazy and then no, you won't come to the event. Anyway, that's a tangent I'm about to get off on, and I clearly don't have time as we're winding down to the 1 minute mark. I do want to send a shout out at Crossroads Church on the east side of Tucson. There is the Tucson Neighborhood Food Pantry. You can find them at tnfp.org. Please give it a look. I did ask my pastor to send me a note about the Tucson Neighborhood Food Pantry so I could give a shout out to what they're doing over there. And he sent me over 2 paragraphs. Wasn't completely prepared tonight, as I promised I would be, because I don't have it in front of me. So, as I scramble for it, and I'm not finding it. So, go to tnfp.org, Tucson Neighborhood Food Pantry. They're basically giving out food boxes to neighborhood families that can't afford to buy groceries. They're helping feed kids. It's open on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. The hours, I believe, are 1 to 5. You can make donations online at the website if you want to help them raise money. You can volunteer to come in and help pass out food if you want. All that can be done through the website. So I implore you, please go ahead and click. Let me go ahead and ask you to tune in again next week. When the topic will be, probably April 13th, 2013. God bless you. Please be praying for me because I know I'll be praying for you.